Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 51 of the revolutionary podcast that you listen to every single Friday on the More of the Same Network family of podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the record-breaking, trend-setting podcast known as the Yin and The Yang. And yes, I am the Yin, ladies and gentlemen. I am the former two-time USW heavyweight champion, and there is a reason why I can say that, as well as your residential lifelong martial artist, Anthony Chu, a.k.a. Chuzilla, the ultimate thriller, all muscle, no filler, baby. And ladies and gentlemen, sooner or later, I will introduce my co-host, but before I do, we have a power-packed episode for you this week, ladies and gentlemen. Not only do we have the regular segments like Reclaiming You, Q&A, but on this week's show, we talk about fight prep, going towards my competition that's going on in about three and a half weeks. I'm about to do a monumental feat come the first week of November. At the same time, the UFC is now the most, if not the most bona fide, successful pro wrestling organization, better than the WWE. I don't know what else. After this weekend's past insane, and I'm talking about insane post-fight insanity. So, ladies and gentlemen, other than that, oh yes, and Larry does a great charitable thing for the people of the Carolinas. And ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to do right now is to introduce my co-host. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is the Yang of the program, and we have a special theme song for him this week. I'm going to try to do some rhyme, not really sure. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here is his theme song of the week. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to introduce a man that does not need to rhyme. Yes, he gets with the times. And ladies and gentlemen, he is scared shitless of black and white mimes. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the king, the owner, the guru, the man who owns the More of the Same Network family of podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Larry. I did not invite Kanye West to the mansion for a press conference interview. Mormon. And by the way, Larry, we do not interrupt Mr. Rogers. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to have a neighborhood with you. So
let's make the most of this beautiful day.
Since we're together,
might as well say,
would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Won't you please?
Please, won't you be my neighbor?
My neighbor?
My closest neighbor is about 9 miles south on the road, and that's a special thing. I like Mr. Rogers.
Now, Larry, first of all, before we even talk about ourselves,
the world needs Fred Rogers again.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. If there was a time in this world right now, between all this racial tension, between political tensions, between just we're living in such an angry, hateful, unforgiving world, this world right now that we live in 2018 really, truly needs the message of, Mr. Rogers, basically.
I saw that documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor? I recommend it to everybody.
I was about to ask you, was it,
It was so good. It was so good. And he truly lived that life. That was not a shtick he was putting on. He really wanted to make the world better. He knew that the children was the future and that they needed to be entertained, taught, but also not sheltered. The first Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was on and off because there was a gap there for a little while, for about 30 years. Do you know Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood actually went off the air in 2001?
Yes.
That's how long it ran. Started in the early 60s. The first week he was on the air, the first week in the 60s that Mr. Rogers was on the air, they talked about either, now, I forgive me, it was one of these two topics, divorce or assassination.
Wow.
You know
because
what?
Of the Kennedy?
It was divorce.
Assassination?
It was divorce because it was Robert Kennedy that they talked about assassination, not John, Robert.
Okay.
He went with, when the Challenger blew up, he told the world, he told the kids what it was about. And, he was the first one to really show racial equality. Back then.
Absolutely.
Back then, he had an episode where he actually shared a small wading pool. Don't get me wrong. But he shared a pool with a black man. And, the black man was, I forgot his name. Forgive me.
He was like a sheriff or something like that,
He was.
Right?
He was the cop. Yeah. Francois something. I'm sorry. I can't remember his name. And, Mr. Rogers like, oh, you look tired. Why don't you take your boots off and, just kind of cool off? And there he is, like, rubbing his feet down. That was not happening in the 60s. That was barely happening in the 70s.
There were, and just to give you a very serious example of racial divide in the 1960s.
I'll give you one that was in the documentary.
Okay. One of them that I had heard of, actually, when I was watching the playoffs, the baseball playoffs, was the idea that they were talking about an African-American player that was known, established, and he was an up-and-coming player. And he was known within, I guess, his city's, the team circles,
Mm-hmm.
And he traveled outside, and he was in an away park, and he jumped into a pool, and literally they drained the entire pool, they cleaned the entire pool and refilled it back. And the only reason why they did it was because he was African American.
Look, we can all say times were different. I get that. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. Well, it's wrong. But, it's just, I don't know, because, we weren't there. I think Frank Messina, the host of the Better Half podcast, he may have been there in the 60s. But we weren't. And, we don't know what, I can't imagine living that life. In the documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, there's a scene of some, a black family, some black kids in a pool. I think there was like a hotel pool. And all of a sudden, like, the management came out and started pouring bleach in the pool.
Wow.
And there was actual video footage of this.
So, apparently, the UFC can actually do better promoting and better pro wrestling than pro wrestlers can.
Yeah, what the hell happened?
Did you see what was going on?
I heard what was going on. I was at the hockey game that night, so I didn't see it. Plus, I wasn't ordering it. But
are you now promoting a hockey podcast here? Is that what you were about to lead into?
That is not happening. That fell through.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, I've just, for a moment there, I was going to ask Jeremiah to mute your mic, but he's still passed out. But anyway, the point being is, UFC over this past weekend was nuts. And it was nuts in a sense that the fights were great, all right, for the most part. They were all great knockouts. They were good fights. I don't want to talk about any fight except for two. One, the karate hottie, Michelle Waterson, won her fight against Felice Herrig, which is great. But then that was the first fight.
Okay.
Right. And then the last fight was Khabib, I don't even know how to say his last name, against Conor McJackass. Now, Larry?
I don't think that's how you pronounce his last name.
Well, that's how I pronounce his last name, okay? Now, fans, for those of you who did not watch and did not see this because the UFC pay-per-views are just too goddamn expensive nowadays, what had happened was the fight was on, and I got to say, this kid Khabib is pretty damn quick, and he hit McGregor pretty hard. McGregor defended it, and in the fourth round, McGregor tapped out to a rear naked choke. Okay.
What round?
Round 4.
Oh, okay. Well, at least he went far.
Right, it went to the championship rounds, right? And It looked during the whole fight like McGregor was, I guess you can say, quote unquote, off his game. And we don't know why, but it just didn't look like the Conor that you would expect. Maybe it's ring rust. I don't know. The point being is he gets choked out. He's sitting down. He's lying down after getting choked out. Initially. Now,
usually McGregor, you have to give credit where credit is due. Usually after McGregor, with all the talking that he does before a fight, if he gets beat, he usually is fairly professional about it. He
eats humble pie. Yes. So basically, McGregor gets choked out, and it took him a little bit to kind of regain his consciousness. It took a few seconds. But this fucking moron, Khabib, basically, I don't want to say anything negative, but the guy gets up, he stands over him, he spits on McGregor.
Does he really? Right? Is that how it started? I believe he
spits on McGregor, and curses him out. He had words for him, right? Mm-hmm. McGregor's sitting there kind of like, what the fuck just happened? Did I just lose? He had that expression, or his body language was expressing that. And then all of a sudden, this fucking mayhem where after Khabib curses him out and I think possibly spits on him, he looks directly at McGregor's teammate, who Dylan, I forgot what his last name was, and he, I think, is McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach, okay? Now, mind you, Daniel Cormier, I think, is Khabib's wrestling coach, okay?
Oh, okay.
Now, I believe so. At least that's what a friend of mine told me. And pretty much Khabib jumps the cage, and he does a fucking suicide plancha onto the fucking audience, and he literally goes after McGregor's teammate, who's training him in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And he insinuates a massive fight. Now, Conor's standing in the ring now. He's finally getting up, and he's looking at the melee of what's going on, and out of nowhere, I shit you not, some fucking guy climbs the cage like it's Randy Orton or like Roman Reigns, and he jumps over the cage and gets on top of McGregor and starts punching him in the back of the head.
So McGregor really didn't start anything.
Right. So McGregor basically didn't start.
Innocent in this.
Right. So basically he's punching now. McGregor turns around after a couple of punches and turns around and starts swinging back to protect himself.
Okay, I can understand
that. Right. And then all of a sudden, another guy off like his left side, and McGregor turns around and sees another guy trying to possibly jump in, and McGregor's swinging on this fucking guy too, or something, or like something in the octagon. Some guy was coming after him too. So McGregor was trying to defend against 2-3 guys. I don't know if it's a fan. I don't know if it's Khabib's teammate, but the guy that jumped the cage was definitely Khabib's teammate, right? And so this massive melee ensues. Now, here's the thing. This fucking jackass, Khabib, gets on the press conference booth and basically says, well, what we should be concentrating on is Conor fucking flying from Ireland specifically just to go into the bus in the Barclays Center and toss a stool, thus hurting people and assaulting a team of UFC fighters. At the same time, he's made fun of my so that's number one. Okay, now here's the thing. Let's go back here. Fans, you may recall I cut an epic burial on McGregor about him doing that, going to the Barclays Center. He literally flew from Ireland to go to the Barclays Center, and he grabbed a stool and launched it right onto a bus window, carrying UFC fighters, right into a tour bus. Now, why was he not suspended? Where the fuck was the athletic commission then? Where was the UFC officials to suspend this guy and say, hey, listen, this is a disgrace. What the hell's the matter with you? You're like a loose cannon running around, doing this type of deviant shit. Mm-hmm. Now, I can understand where Khabib is coming from. But then he says, well, the guy, you should also, as a media, you should also concentrate on the fact that, well, Khabib he talked about my dad, and he talked about my country, and he talked about my culture, and he talked about my religion. Motherfucker, do you know what type of business you're in? You're in the fight business. If you have not heard Conor cut epic burials of his opponents, where the hell have you been for the last, I don't know, 5-6 years? If you look at any other UFC fighter like Chael Sonnen, Rampage Jackson, they all cut epic promos. Brock Lesnar, you could name a whole bunch of people, all right, who talk smack. And yet, this is the business that you're in. Do you not know that? And then, the Nevada State Athletic Commission is withholding $2 million of his fight purse, which is Khabib's entire fight purse. Good. Right? They're withholding $2 million, but then what happened was Dana White, who is the Vince McMahon of MMA, or at least he wants to be, says, "Oh no, I'm not stripping, Khabib of his title, and they should release his fight person, blah blah blah." The guy fucking assaulted somebody else, which is illegal, and then his buddies assaulted a competitor.
Yeah, man.
That's just like a fan who jumps into the wrestling ring trying to beat up on one of the talent. How the fuck is that not, means for an arrest? Or there's no charges, by the way. There's no suspensions given by the UFC.
Wait, nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
You've got to be kidding. And this was all on pay-per-view.
Right, all on pay-per-view. This is plain sight. There's nothing Dana White's been doing. And here's the reason why, folks. Dana White sees money. It's a cash cow to him. He wants this. And we all know. Now, why do I say that the UFC is doing pro wrestling better than the WWE is, or better than pro wrestling itself, is because they're using all the tricks that we're not using now. Think about this. It looks like it's a choreographed storyline buildup. Personal drama, personal problems make money. Controversy creates cash, right?
There you go. Sounds familiar.
Sounds very familiar. And then on top of that, it's like, okay, so then now here's my question. For all the MMA fans out there and who knock pro wrestling, who make fun of professional wrestling, who make fun of the WWE, oh, it's fake, it's choreographed, stupid storylines, stupid gimmicks, blah, blah, blah. How does it feel to be a hypocrite, you morons? Because you don't think Conor McGregor is a walking gimmick in the MMA world? At the same time, this melee that you see is something there should have been something scripted out of a WWE writer's room.
That is just insanity.
All right? There's no charges involved? Are you kidding? There's no suspensions, no violations. Now the State Athletic Commission is taking their time to look into this deal. There should be immediate suspensions. No questions asked. It's on documented footage.
Live. It was live, yeah.
Right. Larry, you know as well as I do, and by the way, this is a nice little crossover to your other A show called Talking More Wrestling, all right? Which, by the way, fans, I do encourage you to listen to, since even though he doesn't promote my shit. The thing about it is that what is the point of wrestling angles? The point of wrestling angles is to simulate an actual possible could be, would be, and should be situation that could happen in real life. That's what a wrestling angle is. And that's what the UFC is using. So for all you MMA fans that knock wrestling fans, knock the product, right? And you talk all this crap. Well, how does it feel to be a hypocrite now? Because basically what I saw on Saturday was like an episode of Monday Night Raw. It just so happens it's in the MMA world. But nobody knocks that. Nobody says anything about that.
I guess only time will tell at this point.
As far as I'm concerned, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I actually side on McGregor with this.
It sounds like McGregor was basically innocent.
Look, I know Exactly. And I know he gets under the skin of his opponents by talking a lot of shit. I mean, especially with what he did with Jose Aldo and all these other opponents he has. I get that. All right. But this fucking guy, Khabib, this fucking Russian, and I don't give a damn what country he's from. To me, he's Russian. Okay. This guy is a thug. He's basically a thug. And the rest of his entourage are a bunch of thugs. They make the Diaz brothers look like nice people. Yeah. All right. And here's the thing. Here's the irony, Larry. He goes home to his home country. They give him a hero's welcome at a stadium.
Of course.
Like the people over there actually condone him to be this hero after what he did. Well, gee, that really speaks very well for your own countrymen and woman, and that speaks very well about who you represent and how you represent. So you know what? Fuck you, Khabib. You suck. And you're now. I think I hate him more than I hate Conor.
There you go. Come join the Conor McGregor bandwagon.
Well, shit. I mean, is that what the next commercial is going to be? The Conor McGregor fan club?
Don't be jealous.
Conor, I have a message for you. I actually side with you on this one. You're okay. You're somewhat okay in my book for now until you do the next crazy thing. Spare me your pity clap.
Oh, how dare you.
Anyway.
All right.
Jesus Christ, am I worked up?
Yeah, you're worked up now. I think, boy, it's almost... I feel like now would be a good time to put in... to calm you down.
Wait a minute. What's wrong now? Are you up? Are you conscious now? You fine? You need some water? What are you crying for? The last kid who cried here got his arms broken by Mr. Seagal, just to let you know. Don't cry. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. What? You got to whisper something in my ear now? What are you, married to me? Larry, would you give me a second? Jeremiah's having a moment here.
Oh, boy.
What was that? Okay. Is that what you want to do? Is that what it's about? Because you have respect for him? Is that what it is? All right. Fine. Fine. No. Jeremiah, out of respect for you, because you've been all right so far. You're not Huang. You're not Ensign and whatever. All right? This is for you. I'm just going to do this for you. Larry, he's crying because he feels he owes an allegiance to you, to say thank you for giving him an opportunity. So he says that out of the goodness of my heart, I should give you a segue here to talk about New York Comic Con. So against my wishes and out of respect for you, Jeremiah, see how much respect this kid has for you?
At least he knows what side of the bread is buttered.
Well, he's a moron. But anyway, point is, Larry, take it away. The floor is now yours. Let's talk about New York Comic Con. Go ahead. Fine. Blah, blah, blah. While you're doing that, I'm going to go take an Ian Calderone, okay?
Wow. I can't believe he's so just jaded. But that's okay.
Oh, and while I'm at it, I'm gonna go wipe my Capizzi too.
Oh, my God. Good God. Well, yes, New York Comic Con 2018 live from the Jacob Javits Center in New York City. I did attend, representing the retro gamers. It was actually I have to admit, it was a very fun time. I went only one day. I went that Saturday, the 6th. I really didn't have much to worry about, which was good. I just kind of walked the floor. I took in a lot of the cosplay, which had some very good cosplay this year. And you can actually see some of the moments that were captured at New York Comic Con. If you do go to the Retro Gamers YouTube page or the Retro Gamers Instagram page, you'll see some videos there. Some of the cool costumes I saw, Winona Ryder's character from Beetlejuice. Actually, there was a couple of Beetlejuice cosplays. Not only was Winona Ryder's character cosplayed, but that scene with Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin when they're trying to scare the family out of the house. Some people dressed up like those characters as well. It was nuts. I saw probably what was my favorite costume of the weekend, or at least that day. And I could have sworn it was straight out of the movie. A Raphael, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, that looked just like he came from the movies, those movies from the early 90s.
Oh, I'm back, by the way.
Oh, very good. And then, you got my theory of cosplay is, and you see this at every convention, there are 3 types of people who cosplay. There are women who dress up like Wonder Woman and who can
I love this theory, by the way.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Okay.
Let me start over. Shanti. Okay. So there's 3 people who like to dress up. 1, women who dress up like Wonder Woman and who can pull
Larry,
it off.
did I ever tell you about the... Oh, I'm sorry, Larry. Sorry. I didn't know you were talking. Sorry about that.
Shanti. Okay. So there are 3 types of people who like to cosplay. There is 1, women who dress up like Wonder Woman who can absolutely, positively pull it off. There are women who dress up like Wonder Woman who don't pull it off, but God bless them, they're trying. And then there's guys who dress up like Wonder Woman. I saw all 3 of them on Saturday. And the guy who dressed up like Wonder Woman, I could have sworn it was George the Animal Steel. This man was wearing a sweater underneath his Wonder Woman costume. It was a hairy human being.
Okay.
Another cool costume, someone dressed up as an arcade machine. A working arcade machine.
I seen a picture of that. I know several people who went. There was also a couple that dressed up as pop vinyls.
Yes. People walking around as custom pop vinyls. That was really funny from Funko. There was just a lot of stuff. And what I liked about this year, normally every year at Comic-Con, there's always that one character that everyone's dressing up like. A few years ago, it was Harley Quinn. Last year, Wonder Woman. This year, and for the better, in my opinion, there really wasn't like one character that was overplayed. Like there wasn't a ton of Deadpools. I mean, there were Deadpool, of course, but not an overabundance of them. So there was a good eclectic group of cosplayers. On top of that, I did get my one photo op autograph with WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. And we had a moment. We had an actual moment at Comic-Con. So basically, I go up to her talking. I must have talked to her for like 5 minutes. She was very sweet, a wonderful human being, a wonderful woman, very beautiful.
Did you tell her also creepily that you have a pair of boots of hers that you won off an auction?
Shit, I completely forgot about that. I forgot to mention the boots. Oh, man. That was my in. I really forgot this. I'm shooting from the hip. I completely forgot to mention those stupid boots of hers.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm sorry I brought up a sensitive topic, Larry.
No, that sucks. Could have gotten one of them re-signed. Fuck. Well, in any event, damn it.
Well, I don't think she'd probably want to see those things because it looks kind of white.
No, they're fine.
They're
Louis Vuittons. They're fine. All right?
You sure about that?
I'm positive. Though there is for some reason, when I got the boots, there was a Pringles can top in there. I don't know why.
Okay. No. All right. Well,
so I'm talking to her, and I'm like, hey, she's telling me like her history just surrounded by New York City. She debuted at Nassau Coliseum. Her Hall of Fame was at Madison Square Garden. Her last match was at MSG. All this stuff. So I'm like, oh man, I don't know who to. You're going up against this now. Granted, I met her when the match was still 1-on-1 with her and Alexa Bliss at Evolution. So now, since then, it's been made a tag match. So I'm like, hey, I don't know who to root for. You're going up against my girl Alexa Bliss. So Trish takes my hands, grabs my hands, looks me right in the eyes, and goes, "We're having a moment, and Stratusfaction will be guaranteed." At which point I went, Trish, I am all in. You are beating Alexa Bliss at WWE Evolution.
Wait a minute. So let me make sure, and I don't mean to interrupt you in the story, but let me make sure I mention a few points here. Number one, you're cheating on Alexa Bliss by meeting Trish.
She's a WWE Hall of Famer. and she's Canadian.
I thought you don't like anything that's not American.
I'm doing a heel turn.
Okay. Really? Okay. Secondly,
Oh,
wait. Stop.
My home and native land. True patriot love for all the world to see.
Stop.
Hey, give me credit for knowing that many words to the Canadian national anthem.
That's good because I only know "O Canada." Anyway,
True patriot.
Okay, stop. I know, for God's sake.
It's like when Hacksaw Jim Duggan went Canadian.
Oh, that's nice. That's right.
But she was cool. She was cool.
Okay. And secondly, the second observation is you actually felt her hands.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Larry, but if that was me, I would have found the closest bathroom and
Hey, listen, she is a lady. She is a proper lady, but it was cool. Got her autograph, so got her picture. And that was really about it. Just walked the floor, just kind of took it all in. Again, I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't looking to buy anything. I wasn't looking for any specific autographs other than Trish. So I think I made out pretty good.
What other celebrities were there that you didn't go see?
Dean Cain.
Dallas Page. Oh, I know you avoided DDP, didn't you?
No, he wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
But Dean Cain, Terry Hatcher from, The Adventures of Superman back in the day. There was a here we go. You want to feel old? I think it's a 25th anniversary panel of Boy Meets World.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yep. They were there. So just some various random autographs. Not as good as it's going to be at Chiller, in my opinion.
Oh, by the way, I think you're, on a side note, I think you're marked for death when it comes to Diamond Dallas Page.
I do my DDP yoga.
Oh, really? Is there proof on that?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Because actually, I emailed them and asked them, how much would it be or how do I set up a meeting at the DDP Yoga Performance Center? And I said, and P.S., my friend Larry met you, bought the DDP Yoga system and has not used 1 second.
Wait a minute. Don't lie directly to the man.
I'm not lying directly. You've never touched the DDP Yoga system.
All right. I think it's time. It's time to take a commercial break.
Okay. I don't know what commercials we have, but
we don't have commercials? You were supposed to cue something up. Fuck.
Anyway, Larry, I think this is getting out of hand. So, anything else happen in New York Comic Con?
Other than that, I was just looking around trying to find Michael Myers poster for Josh over at Victims and Villains and failed at that miserably. And other than that was pretty much about it.
Okay, now, before we finish off this particular topic, let me ask you this. Out of curiosity, with New York Comic Con, is New York Comic Con now considered bigger than the San Diego Comic Con? Or is it still San Diego reigns supreme?
I think I heard last year New York Comic Con was bigger than San Diego. I'm actually going to put them side by side. I'm going to put them. I mean, San Diego probably a little bit more because they're closer to Hollywood, so they'll probably get a little bit more, with like interviews and stuff. But as far as like importance to the business, I'm going to say it's neck and neck.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, since I've never been invited to one by you, Larry, and
why would I invite you? You got to pay for yourself.
This is the way you treat your star employee?
What I do want to say is this, though, and folks, make sure I will allow you to record this segment of the Yin and The Yang podcast, so make sure to save this. Anthony, thank you very much for co-hosting on the Retro Gamers podcast. You did a wonderful job with a wonderful topic, and it is gaining popularity by leaps and bounds.
You still got it. You still got it. Now, honestly, I gotta be honest with you. For those of you fans who want to listen to a crossover episode, check out episode 109, I believe.
109, yeah.
Right? 109 of the Retro Gamers, which is the mothership of the More of the Same family of podcasts. Because Lord knows this ain't the mothership. So, and it never will be. So, yes, I appreciate it. I did bring the star power. I did bring the magic. And you know what? It's sometimes I really feel like I do better on that show than I do on this one.
Maybe just a different atmosphere. You know, you don't have to worry about being in control.
Maybe, Larry, you should just take over the Yin and the Yang. Let me go over the Retro Gamers.
I mean, technically, I do control the Yin and the Yang podcast.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so, yes, I for those of you who don't know what topic I came up with actually video games that were never ported to a home console. Arcade games that were never ported to a home console.
It was a great idea.
Which I'm an avid listener, and I've never heard that discussed. So kind of figured that would be the thing. And I know, man, when you listen to what the topic was, I heard that Anthony didn't tell you exactly what the topic was. So when you heard it, I'm sure you wanted to be in the studio.
No, it was definitely a great topic. Definitely some stuff I wanted to talk about. Little jealous, not too jealous. But I think it worked out.
I smell something here. You know what I smell? I smell a part 2 coming to this episode here.
All right.
And yes, Yin and Yang fans, I do want to bring you all over into that show. And so hopefully when your gracious leader comes back for part 2 of video games in the arcade that was never ported to a home console, I want to bring you all along for the ride. So,
and let me ask you this question as a little bit of a follow-up to the Retro Gamers.
Yes, sir.
I guess you preferred WrestleFest over Superstars?
Now, what's the difference between the two?
Just, I think one of them had a steel cage and different characters.
I liked WrestleFest because it was, first of all, I wasted a hell of a lot of money. I think on the show I even mentioned, I think I wasted my entire 2-week allowance money.
Yeah.
One time playing this game, especially with Anthony. And it was just like, I wasted a lot of money on that, man. Whew. I also cut school a couple of times to go play it in the arcade. It was just that much fun.
Yeah, you know? I mean, and Superstars came out in '89, so technically WrestleFest is a sequel to Superstars.
Right. I actually like WrestleFest better because I think that they modified it. The graphics were better. It was just a lot more exciting to me, especially when they do the collar and elbow tie-up.
Yeah. And
you would transition to a move, and you have to really like smash the buttons. You know, kind of like we smashed Tara. But it's kind of like that, you know. But anyway, man, my offbeat references are good today. Anyhow, Larry, probably the fans of the show are probably sitting there going, these guys are everywhere. These guys are just talking about one thing after the next, and like we want to restore some sanity. So this is a perfect segue, Larry, into my favorite segment of the show. So everybody, I hope you sit back, listen, and enjoy this.
Alrighty then.
Okay, fans. So this week, I want to talk to you about diligence. And I want to talk to you about also something that's really struck a chord with me and I think carried throughout my entire life. And what I want to talk about, first and foremost, before I talk about diligence, is I want to talk about, you know, the sentence that really got to me. I was in the supermarket, and, you know, I was in Trader Joe's, and I was actually talking to a friend of mine who works there. And I overhear this mother yelling at her two sons. And actually, she was yelling at one of her sons. And she basically said, well, how come you can't be more like your brother? Your brother is this, your brother's that. And why is it that you're this way and all that? And it struck a chord with me because I remember, when I was a kid, especially my teenage times, I remember my parents used to give me a lot of grief. And I love my folks, okay? Till this very day, I love my folks. I will forever love my parents for infinite reasons. But my father would always have this thing where he would say to me, well, how come you can't be more like blank, right? Or here's my favorite one. You are, and then fill in the blank, okay? Another thing that my father would say to me. And when you hear enough of something like this, okay, meaning when you hear something like, how come you can't be more like whomever they want to compare you to? That hurts. That destroys people's confidence. That destroys the self. And a lot of people have low self-esteem. A lot of people have low self-confidence because of this. And I remember, ever since I was a kid, all the way till now, till recently in the past couple of years, all you hear is people saying, oh, well, when I was a kid, I tried out for, relay racing at elementary school in the yard. Oh, you're too fat. Or you tried out for football. Oh, you're too small. Or you try out for basketball. Oh, you're too short. Or, you're too this, you're too that. And when you hear these negative things, you start to believe in it after a while because you actually do a self-assessment and you say to yourself, is this really true? And a lot of times people will buy into it. And something I've learned throughout the years is that you can't listen to what people say. You can't be bothered by that. Get it out of your mind because people want to hold you back. Because they can't do what you're doing. They can't progress like you can. They're not making the changes that you want to make and that you will make. So what do they have to do? They want to bring you down to that level. And you cannot have that happen. I feel sometimes like my entire life growing up, I always had to prove something to my parents. I always had to prove that, there was a point where family members didn't think that I was ever going to graduate from college. I had to prove them wrong. They never thought that I would get my instructorship in Wing Chun or in martial arts. I proved them wrong. There are people who doubted me of me dropping weight a couple of years ago. People took office bets. I proved them all wrong. Your life is a lot about proving. And the proving you'll learn is not to prove to other people, say, ha, 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 I could do it. I'm better than you. It's to prove to yourself that you can do something. Your self-accomplishment, your achievements, these things will resonate, not just through you, but when people say it, they'll turn silent. And you got to ask yourself, how do I block people out? Well, it's simple. Just don't listen. You hear what they're saying? Block it out of your mind. Don't live with that anger. Don't let it seep inside you. And because that's how all of a sudden now, if you keep it in you and you keep thinking about it and thinking about it, what's going to happen is either you're going to believe in it or you're going to get angry. When you get angry, understand something. If you cannot control your emotions and you get upset at these things that people say about you, what begins to happen is an angry warrior gets tired. They get foolish. They make bad decisions. You as someone, whether you're a martial artist or not, should always know that make the other person angry, right? How do you do that? Not by action, not by physical action. You don't have to go fight the world, right? You go out there and you meet those goals that they say that you can't do. And I guarantee you 100%, I guarantee you 1,000% that I assure you, when you meet those goals that people say you can't do, or you accomplish something, or you do something bold and daring that people would never think, and you improve yourself, you improve other people, you inspire other people, you know what's going to happen? You're going to learn that silence sometimes speaks the loudest volumes. And that's something that you need to keep in mind. You know, this is something that, and I'll tell you this, fans, it's something that I learned personally, you know, coming up in this world. And I'm passing this forward to those of you who feel that sometimes a goal is impossible. Sometimes, you know, what we want to do in life just seems like there's no end to a goal and that you'll never get there. And I'm telling you, hang on, because the best is yet to come. And if you can do that and you just chip at it day by day, week by week, month by month, in time, you will see things change. You may not notice it, and that's okay. But just keep doing what you're doing. And people will see it. And then they're going to start commenting, and they're going to start noticing. And then eventually, you know what's going to happen? You're going to start noticing. You know? So always keep in mind, you cannot listen to the voices around you. Listen to the voices in you. Listen to the voice that's most important, that's in your mind, you know, and say, yes, I can, instead of no, I can't. That word can't, by the way, just want to say, the word can't, C-A-N apostrophe T, does not exist in Reclaiming You. It does not exist in the Yin and The Yang podcast. It does not exist in the More of the Same network family of podcasts. Because if you take the word can't and apply it, sooner or later, you can't do anything. All right? The people who are in this network, the people who listen to it, we believe in the word can. We can and we will. So, my friends, think about this. The second half, and this is the last D that I want to talk about. When you think about diligence, the word diligence, I want you to listen to something, okay? Listen to this very carefully. What is diligence?
Here's the definition of diligence: careful and persistent work or effort.
So, according to Google, consistent work and effort, right? This is the last D of the 5 Ds. And this is possibly one of the most important, if not the most important. There's a saying that I had seen in the Billy Blank's studio, and it says, faith without work is dead, right? And work without faith is dead. You can believe in something all you want, but if you don't go and put the work in and be consistent about it, you're not going to see that change that you want. Okay? Think about this for a second. Imagine if you put in one, day where you focus solely on that one effort, and then you leave it alone for a week. You think you're going to get anything accomplished? It's through consistent diligence. It's consistent work and effort, and you got to put in something every day. When I look at simplicity, simple things, all I do, and it's very simple. You look at something as simple as somebody walking. Okay? There's a right way to walk, there's a wrong way to walk. And as something as simple as this action that we do every single day of our lives, there are some people who don't walk correctly. You know what's going to happen? they're going to hurt themselves. They'll pay for it later on. Then there are some people who walk with good posture. You'll see their stride is consistent, right? There goes that word again. You're going to see that people have this ability where they can, they walk with confidence, right? They walk with, you can see self-esteem glowing. They give out this amazing vibe and this energy, right? And then there are people who walk slouched, who look at the ground instead of forward, who have bad posture, who have all these things. Something as simple as that has this huge difference. If something that simple can be such a big difference, just imagine something complex. But if you can accomplish those simple things and master it, be the master of yourself, what can you accomplish? I want you to think about that for the week. Then when you do, come back. And we're going to take heed to these ideas. So I want you to take this in your mind. I want you to think about it. And for those of you who have accomplished some success, I congratulate you. For those of you who need help, we're always here. It's Yin and Yang Podcast at gmail.com. Once again, it's Yin and Yang Podcast at gmail.com. And for those of you who haven't started at all, right, what are you waiting for? Because only you have the ability to take action, to adapt, and to change yourself, and to reclaim yourself. And for those of you listening to the first time, I suggest that you be inspired. Go back to episode 41 where it all began. Build yourself that foundation and go with it. So my friends, I hope this helps. And we will see you next week for another listen to Reclaiming You. All right. Well, there we go. Whew.
Ooh, man, another good one, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate this. It really is one of those things where, that strikes a chord with me. Mm-hmm. When people tell me you are, and they fill in the blank and they put some negative shit in there. We should only listen to ourselves and the people who support us and give us positive energy. And I really, really want to put that together. And by the way, Larry, I got a good friend, Paulie, who I want to get on the show to do a recorded interview. I had promised you guys some interviews some long while back, and we've just had some scheduling conflicts and putting things together. But I want to start putting together some interviews here along the way to help the fans and all that other stuff.
I can't pay them any appearance fees, but we can do it.
No. They unlike some people that we know that have a lot of money who do it for greed, they want to do it out of the goodness of their heart.
Greed.
But we won't mention names, Larry.
Greed.
Yeah. What? I'm sorry. Are you offended? I mean, if you have nothing to be offended by, why are you so defensive?
Remember, I can end it like that.
Oh, I'm sure you can, and then that's fine by me because I'll just go to MLW Radio.
What? Listen, I want to see. Are you talking to other networks?
And now at the same time that I'm now good friends with Corny, right, with Mr. Cornette, he could probably hook me up with Podcast One. Or how about Brian Last? I'm sure he can add an extra show on his 60,000 shows that he does a week.
You are exclusive to the More of the Same family of podcasts. You remember that, sir.
49 more episodes.
So I think it's, time for some letters or something? Is that what we're up to?
Yep. Let's do that. Let's see what we got in the old feedback.
And the mailbag's empty. All right, folks. Have a good weekend, everybody.
What?
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, Larry, I was about to say, the mailbag's full, actually.
It's always, a lot of emails get rejected because the mailbox is full.
why don't you reach into the sack there and pull something out nice and,
all right, let me just yank this open.
Okay, all right.
Let me just reach down there.
Open open it slowly,
up to,
and basically just pull it out. You know what I mean?
Elbow.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, so let's go into the mailbag here. First question. You ready?
I hope that this week we don't have these assumed names of people who are, I think, probably in the witness protection program.
I don't think so. Yeah, it was weird.
I hope not.
So, Dayton from Quebec, Canada. Not sure where.
Wait. Dayton is a name?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. All right.
He writes, or she, I don't know. What is a pet peeve of yours in the dojo?
Oh, God. There's so many of them. I think the one pet peeve I can say on a student on a student level, and I want to know what perspective Dayton wants us from, because if on a student level, I would say to you in the dojo, students not bowing or showing a sign of respect to their teachers.
Oh, that'd be huge, I imagine.
That would be like taboo.
Well,
completely forbidden.
That's not necessarily a pet peeve. That's just outright disrespect.
Right, exactly. Well, but here's the thing. I've seen it in other schools. Remember when a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we had a segment on the show called Chewed Out?
I do remember, yep.
Remember I chewed out one of the senseis where he allowed his students to call him bro?
Yeah.
I mean, like where the hell is the respect now? And see, Larry, you also have to understand, we live in a world too, and I'm sure that you can understand where this is coming from. Unlike me, who has respect for, you. He's giving me the look of doubt now. I'm only kidding. I don't have any respect for you. Anyway, no. But I mean, seriously, bro. All right. Here's the thing. We live in a world now where we believe that as a paying customer, okay, you're looked upon as a client, and you give the teacher your money. And basically, since you pay your tuition every month, you run the show. You don't have to abide by what he or she says. You're the boss. You're giving the money, and if I paid, I pass. Just like that lady I told you about that wanted me to give her son a participation trophy.
Oh, yeah.
It just does not happen.
Yeah, I don't think so.
In the martial arts world, the teacher, at one time, a teacher used to be a father figure. If you ask Jackie Chan's mentor, who taught him, Master Yoon, he was like a father figure, like an authoritarian, but he was also like a father figure who raised Jackie, from the time he was a little 10-year-old kid into what he is now. So, I mean, you got to look at it from that point of view, in a sense that, a teacher, a sensei, or a sifu a master is still considered to be not, and I think that from a teacher's point of view, they should not be looked upon as like a god or like a guy who, and you shouldn't have to fear him like you do like John Kreese from the Cobra Kai. But then again, there's a certain level of respect, that you have to pay. I mean, just like, I look upon my teachers. I mean, even with my workout coach, it's not martial arts oriented. With my workout coach, I call him coach. I because it's out of respect for the man. Yeah. So that would be a pet peeve of mine, and you're right, 100% right. That would be blatant disrespect. I think that from a teacher's point of view of the student, that's one thing. I think that a pet peeve as a student, okay, would be in the dojo would be a master or a teacher or a sifu or a sensei who basically, or professor in certain points, who will yell at a student. Now, there's a difference between talking to somebody and then talking at them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is a difference between saying 1, 2, 3, and as opposed to, okay, guys, I'd like for you to do this in And we're going to do it 10 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And then, and then give them encouragement. Hey, great job, everybody. Great job. That type of thing. So, there's a big difference in that. I don't like being yelled at. I'm sorry, but I did not sign up for Paris Island. Mm-hmm. If you sign up for Paris Island, that's what you're going to get. But in a martial arts studio, big difference between yelling at somebody and then giving instruction.
Okay.
There you go. It's a good question.
Very good.
I've never been asked that before. That's a very good one.
All right. Excuse me. Next, Christian, doesn't say where, but Christian writes, I have a 14-year-old...
Probably in the witness protection program.
I have a 14-year-old student who is obnoxious and a bad influence on the other students. How do I change this? I don't want to give up on him because it looks bad on me.
Okay, I can understand that. You see, you don't want to do. In a way, I can understand you're in a rough predicament because, Christian, you look at it like this: it's a double-edged sword. If you give up on him, basically, you are looked upon as like somebody who can't handle a pressured situation. How do you deal with a tough scenario? You're also losing the tuition of a student. If you want to look at it from that point of view, if that's not important to you money-wise and you already have a successful school, then there's, on the opposite side, it's a double-edged sword because this kid's, if you don't resolve the issue, the kid's going to keep being what he is. Mm-hmm. This is going to sound weird. I actually have a friend of mine who did this to one of his 15-year-old students. He made him an assistant instructor.
Oh, wow.
Now, this is going to sound crazy, but why would you give an obnoxious kid a promotion? Well, there's a reason. Give him responsibility. Tell him that these 5-10 students are now his to warm up. He's going to warm up the class. Or she's going to, I'm guessing his students are he. Mm-hmm. He's going to warm up the class. He's going to teach them basics. And the second that he has a kid that won't listen to him, not only will karma get him back, but then he's going to come up to you more than likely and say, hey, sensei, or Sifu, or master, this kid is not listening to me. And I'll be like, all right, well, now you know how it feels when you don't listen to me. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm giving you responsibility. Now, what am I supposed to do? And then you say to him, what do you think I should do since you don't listen to me? And then what should you do to him, for the young student? Because you have a responsibility now to be, a role model, to be a good influence. And a lot of times, you basically hit it home and you say, hey, if you can't be a shining example, you're going to look bad. We're going to look bad. Mm-hmm. We're a family here. If this kid has any ethics or morals, a lot of kids nowadays will just say, oh, well, I quit that. They're like, nope, I want to give you this because I want to teach you responsibility. You can't argue that with a parent because the parent's going to say, no, we want you to have that responsibility to be an assistant instructor. And that kid's going to basically have no other option but to say, hey, listen, I got to step up and I got to start doing better. So I think that's an interesting way of approaching it, and it worked for my friend.
All right, cool.
That kid, by the way, now is his star student.
Hey, there you go. See?
So there you have it.
And our final question here, Julissa from Miami, Florida writes, I'm attracted to guys who work out. Should I join a gym or martial arts school just to talk to and meet guys?
Wow. Okay. Well, first of all, Julissa is from where?
Miami.
You're telling me. Now, I've been in Miami, Florida. Some hot women over there. So I am going to assume, Julissa, you're beautiful. If that's the way that you meet guys, something's wrong. You are in club and bar central. Now, if that's not your thing, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who are out in the park, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who go out and work out openly. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a lot of clubs and meetup groups and all that other stuff that you can meet. And besides, you're a female. Most of the time, guys go up to women anyway. It's not like, because Larry, you and I both know the struggle's real.
This is true. Right? This is true.
I don't see. Well, because I don't see Megan Martin and Kyrie Sane knocking on my door anytime soon.
I gotta know where you live.
If you're listening to this, I'll DM you my address. And
sliding into the DMs, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's it's weird. It's not I gotta say something though with Julissa. That almost she seems very superficial.
You think so?
She's coming off as
what makes you say that?
Shallow.
Really?
Just because she has to meet someone in a gym or a martial arts school. All right, I get it. That means they're in shape probably. But, there's a lot of muscle-bound meatheads out there who don't know, their wrist from their elbow. And, sometimes, look, some of the best guys aren't necessarily always in the gym or always in the martial arts studio. She seems to just be going out there. She wants some tail, and she probably just needs to get a little something every now and again.
Wow, Larry.
I'm just saying
that's brother.
Look, I'm just saying it's not right.
Okay, I mean, I can understand to a degree of what you're saying, bro. But at the same time, I mean, you can't change what she likes, right? I mean,
look, I'm not saying to change it. I'm just saying it's a bit shallow. You're coming off shallow, Julissa.
Julissa, I look at it this way, okay? If you're going to join a martial arts school, all right, I don't suggest that. A lot of the guys who are there and gals who are out there want to learn an art. If they're serious and they're serious students and they want to, learn an art, they're not going to be distracted. I remember when I was in martial arts school, I was in Thai boxing school, I was in Wing Chun school, I was in, judo school. There were women that passed by. And if you're going to talk to them, you talk to them after, class, but not during class, and that's a pretty expensive outlet to meet a guy.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about almost $200 a month sometimes in some instances.
Like that, yeah.
All right. Now, if you go to a gym, it's cheaper. And then now I always say the gym is categorized in 4 ways. Okay. There's 4 types of people that go to the gym. There's type A, who basically are I pick things up and put them down. All right. Who are these hardcore Dwayne Johnson, fucking, I'm there to work out and I'm not there to talk to anybody. And I'm in my own world when I put my headphones on and all that other shit. Right. And they don't want to be bothered by anybody. So, Julissa, I'm going to tell you now, you have no chance with those guys because they're in their own world. You have a second type who basically goes there, and what they do is they pretty much are they're into the classes, and they're just there to do the classes, whatever class they offer, aerobics, kickboxing, spin class, whatever, and and all that. And you're not going to meet anybody there, okay? With that, because these people just want to take their class, get their workout, and get the hell out of there. They're not interested in doing any more than they have to. There's a third category. These are the people who go in there and use it as a social outlet, and basically will jaw jack. They work their jaws more than they work the rest of their body, all right? And they pretty much are in that social group. But usually it's a lot of dudes who want to go there and hang out with the boys, or to get the hell away from their girlfriends or their spouses or whatever. There are also girlfriends who basically go and work out, who look like they're working out, and they shoot the shit. Right? So then you have that third category. Then you have the fourth category, which is actually the most funniest one of them all. People will buy a gym membership, right, just to say that they go to a gym and just to use the facilities. Meaning the steam room, the sauna, take a shower there. You know what I mean? And like, just to say, oh, well, I belong to the UFC gym. I belong to LA Fitness and blah, blah, blah. And, and just to say, yeah, I go there, look at how cool I am. So if you're going to do the gym thing, just understand that there are different types of people out there. Maybe you might strike gold. Hey, listen, Jaleesa, whether you are superficial or not, that's not for me to judge. Larry's giving his 2 cents, and Larry, I respect your opinion. But good luck to you out there. Are you calm now?
I guess so. So what's coming up on our tour dates?
Jesus Christ. Okay, so just when you thought we were out, they pull us back into it. Now, Larry, I'm going to say this to you now.
Okay.
And I am pulling this information up right now. Honest to God, this Saturday, I was supposed to go to the Legends of the Ring, right, in Monroe, New Jersey. I'm not going.
Oh. Okay. And
I'll tell you very flat out why. All right. When you look at the guest list, I have no probable reason or cause to meet the Bullet Club. I just don't want to meet the Bullet Club. Okay. I know that you're into that type of thing. If you want to come over, you're more than welcome to stay at Castle Chuzilla. All right. Not my thing. I hate Hall. I hate Nat. Well, I don't hate Hall. I like Hall, but supposedly they are notorious for not showing up. Hall and Nash, right? I don't like Psycho Sid. Never been a fan. I respect Harley Race, but I don't really have any reason to meet Harley Race. The Fabulous Rougeau brothers, they're going to be there. While I like the Fabulous Rougeau brothers, I don't have any reason. I don't feel like I really want to meet them. The Beverly sisters, I don't want to meet them either.
Are we going through the whole list?
Yeah.
Oh.
DiBiase, Virgil. I don't need to hear, yo, man, you want an autograph? No, all right, fine. All right. No reason to meet Paul Diamond, Pat Tanaka. Eddie Edwards is going to be there. Tessa Blanchard. I'm going to edit it now. All right. Tessa Blanchard. Okay. I may have to make an exception for her. But still, King Kong Bundy, Matt Stryker, Larry Zbyszko, Billy Gunn. Fuck Billy Gunn. I don't like him at all. I think I hate him more than I hate Triple H.
There you go.
Renee Young will be there. I respect that. Kaz. They got the wrong Scorpio because it should be Too Cold Scorpio. All right. Not going to be there. Warlord I've met. Flip Gordon, Tyson Kidd. If I met Tyson Kidd, I'm going to say, I hate you. I'm hating on you. I'm jealous of you because you married Natalia. All right. Tony Gurria. I don't know who Drago is. Drago. The Sinister Minister. And then Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian. There's nobody here I want to meet.
Okay.
So there you go. That's why I'm not showing up. So fans, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to my boy Tori. Tori, I love you, bro. I will catch up with you on the next one for next year. If you want, email me. We'll exchange contact info, and we'll keep together, in contact, man. I'm really sorry I'm not going to be there, Tori. My apologies.
All right.
So then beyond that, the next date is going to be Chilla Theater.
Yes, that's going to be a fun night.
All right,
fun morning, I should say.
So Chilla Theater, and then the next day, which is October 27th at the Hilton Hotel in Parsippany, New Jersey. And then the next day is going to be WWE Evolution, where I will hopefully meet Kairi Sane. By the way, did I ever tell you what my strategy is on indirectly meeting Kairi Sane?
What? Quickly.
Okay. Our friend Anthony, right, is basically used to work for WWE. So he's going to go backstage and meet his friends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have that's what he claims he's going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Anthony an engagement ring to give to Kairi Sane.
Okay, like this is really going to work.
Now you see, maybe you should be listening to Reclaiming You this week. I'm like that because you're doubting me. Thanks a lot, Larry. I appreciate that.
Listen, I'm doing that for a reason. 3 simple words. Prove me wrong.
Oh, so you're using some reverse psychology. That's
absolutely, which
that's
really
nice.
Fell flat on its face. All right, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Chiller. I'm looking forward to Carmen Electra, and basically Carmen Electra.
Bushwhacker Luke.
Actually, I've already met him, and I have a picture of him choking me.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to ask him, where did he get like the Bushwhacker stride from? Because that has to be a military thing. I don't know if I want to meet Mr. Wonderful, but I do want to meet Mr. Bob Backlund.
Oh, I heard he canceled.
You lying bastard. Oh, he canceled Legends of the Ring.
Oh, did he?
Notice I didn't mention him?
Oh. Okay.
But anyway, and then Evolution, right?
Yeah, then the pay-per-view. It's going to be a good show.
What are the matches so far?
Well, you can find out this Saturday at 6:05 p.m. Eastern when you listen to Talking More Wrestling, the official wrestling.
Oh, I'm
Network.
sorry. Was that
What?
the dinner bell for Larry? Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It was some other stupid thing that Jeremiah just played. Listen, again, you're using my show as a vehicle to promote your A-list show. Is that what you're doing, Larry?
Not at all, because
Thanks
the
a
A-list
lot.
show wasn't on last week, so. Well, mostly because I was at Comic-Con, so.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. I guess we've depleted all the resources.
My resources are completely depleted right now.
Well, you know what? Since I'm about to cut an epic burial on you, somebody's telling me not to. So, Larry, while I could cut you an epic burial, there's somebody who's in heaven who I love very much who's telling me not to. And out of respect for him, we're going to close out by being calm, being relaxed, because that's what episode 52 is for, where I can cut an epic burial on you next week. But for now, fans, we want to take you out off the show, signing off on behalf of the staff here, who's, Lord knows, and still on the ground, Larry and myself. This is the way we'd like to end it.
It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside, and when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling. The feeling you know that I'll be back when the day is new. And I'll have more ideas for you. And you'll have things you'll want to talk about. I will too.
Tally ho!
You're the best around. Nothing's going